What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the most efficient way to scale to 5 figures a month with only one prop firm. So I'm going to be telling you guys what to do and what to avoid. I'm also going to be telling you guys about my mistakes, and basically I just made a scaling plan that I would follow when I first started trading, and if I were to start all over again, I would follow this way for sure. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So the first thing that you need, well, you need a strategy, right? So what I recommend is back testing or finding a strategy. I have a strategy posted on my YouTube channel. It's a 38-minute long video going over my model. So find a preferably high win rate strategy and low risks to reward. Now, the reason behind this is because with a higher win rate, you are less stressed. You don't feel more of a pressure compared to a lower win rate, higher risk to reward system. And this is honestly the best way to go with prop firms because of the amount of low drawdown that you get. So for example, a 50K account is around $2,000 of drawdown with Top Step at least, and a 150K is $4,500 of drawdown. That's the amount of capital that you actually get. So find a profitable strategy, high win rate, low risk to reward. That's the first thing, right? Second thing is, what I did when I first started was I basically went straight to the eval stage, but the problem was I was on demo for 2 weeks and I went straight to the eval stage. But the problem was I started with 150K accounts, and those are worth $150. And what I didn't realize at the time was there is no need for me to go with 150Ks right off the bat, because first of all, they're expensive. Second of all, I'm not profitable yet. And third of all, they're 150Ks are pretty good when you're trying to get to those 20, 30, even 50K months. So I've done one 50K month in February, and I've also done another 50K month, I guess you could say, a little bit more than a month, over 38 days. I withdrew 50K in 38 days recently. So that's what 150Ks are good for. When you're trying to scale past that 10K a month mark, then you scale up to 150Ks. But for this video, we're just going to be focusing on scaling to that 5-figure mark, right? So this is just with Top Step, okay? And so for number 2, start off with the cheapest account, so which is the 50Ks, right? And I really recommend just going straight into trading on evals. I would recommend to not entirely skip the paper trading stage, but at least go and paper trade for 2 weeks, just to, see how your strategy works, right? See how to place orders, how to place buys and sells and all of that stuff, all the basics, right? After you got that down, obviously you want to move as fast as possible. So you're gonna go through the eval stage, and we're also gonna talk about a risk plan, right? So for number 3, so what people don't realize is that the prop firm game, it's just a numbers game. It is purely based on return on investment, right? So you're trying to maximize your return on investment on these prop firm accounts. So what does that consist of? You cannot be risking very small amounts on your evaluation accounts. They are $50, okay? If you cannot spare $50 in exchange to potentially making $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, then there is no point in you even trading with prop firms, okay? You have to be okay with spending a little bit more of money and risking a little bit more as well. So with your risk plan, what you're going to do is you're going to risk half of your drawdown, or risk accordingly to your win rate, right? So how are you going to find your win rate? Obvious, you're going to be back testing your strategy. If you want to look at my strategy again, I have it posted on my YouTube channel, so you can go check that out and back test it yourself. And actually what I'm going to add for this low RR, parentheses right here, is target anywhere between 1 to 2 RR max, right? So most likely you're gonna have like a 60 to 70% win rate. And that is more than enough to be able to pass an evaluation account, be able to get consistent payouts on your funded accounts. And obviously you can improve it over time with more market experience, but this should be the bare minimum. So risk accordingly to your win rate, right? If you have a 60% win rate, you have 4 trades. You can lose 4 trades in a row before blowing the account. So what does that mean? With a $2,000 drawdown, risk $500 per trade. 60% win rate, right? That's just an example, 60% win rate, okay? The higher the win rate you have, then I guess the more you risk, okay? But if you also have more capital to work with, then you should be able to risk half of your drawdown and try to get them passed within a week or 2 weeks max, okay? So get accounts or account passed. Let me move this really quick. Within a week / 2 weeks. All right, boom. There we go, okay? Wait, let me go back and close this. All right, finally. Okay, so here's the 5 things that we have so far. Now after this, right, you're going to pass your eval, okay? After you pass your eval, you're gonna be on the funded stage, right? Now, when on funded stage, 150K account, right? Here's what you're gonna do. You're going to keep the same risk, okay? You're not going to risk less, but instead of risking half of your drawdown, now you are actually going to focus on risking accordingly to your win rate, right? So if you have a 60% win rate, you're gonna risk $500 per trade, okay? I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, okay, I'm on a funded stage now, it's time to decrease your risk. Yes, in a sense, yes, you are decreasing your risk. Obviously, you're not gonna risk half of your drawdown, but the thing is, if you cannot go aggressive on prop firms, then you are not maximizing your return on investment. That is one thing that you guys should keep in mind, all right? So risk $500 per trade, 60% win rate, and you're going to take a payout once you make the buffer. So what is the buffer, all right? What is the buffer? The drawdown limit given, right? So with the 50K account, you're given $2,000 worth of drawdown. So make that 2K worth of drawdown and then request half, okay? Request half of the $2,000 that you're given. And that means that will put you 1K in the bank, right? So now you requested 1K from that 50K account that you passed after you made 2K on the account. And now basically you're gonna have an account with 1K worth in drawdown, okay? But with this $1,000, what you're going to do is now buy 2 50K accounts, all right? So with Top Step, when you buy a 50K account or 150K account or 100K account, which you shouldn't even purchase, by the way, do not buy 100K accounts. They are honestly one of those accounts where it's just like, they're in the middle, and it's either you go for the cheapest account or you go for the most expensive account. I don't find a value in 100K accounts, okay? But that's just a personal preference. If you feel like 100K accounts are good for you, then obviously go for it. But this is the way that I like to look at it, at least, all right? So you buy 2 50K accounts, and that's gonna run you $50, right, per account, so that's $100, and then when you activate them, you're gonna have $300 worth of activation fees, right? So that's gonna run you a total of $500, okay, once you pass the accounts. So that's gonna be half of the payout that you received, right? Buy 2 50K accounts, and then obviously follow this risk plan right here on the eval stage, where you're risking half of your drawdown, because again, you want to maximize your return on investment and you want to get to that funded stage as fast as possible. Okay, buy 250K accounts, pass them. Number two, run up accounts. Oh, what the hell? Hold on. Pass them, run up accounts to $2,000 again, request half. All right, so now this will give you $2,000 in your bank again. Okay, so now when you have 2K in your bank, you'll still have these accounts with $1,000 worth of drawdown, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna risk, the same. You're still gonna risk the same. You're not gonna decrease your risk. All right, you're gonna risk $500 per trade, and you'll also have this account right here. If you haven't blown it yet, you'll still have another $1,000 worth of drawdown. So you'll have 350K accounts that you can still trade with $1,000 worth of drawdown. And once you have that, right, you're gonna risk $500 per trade. If you blow it, it's okay, because now you still have $2,000 in the bank and you haven't spent any more money on evals. Okay, so don't just forget about these accounts right here with $1,000 worth of drawdown. Still trade them. Okay, what I recommend is once you get a payout on these, right, or on the first account, and you're trading your evals, what you want to do is still trade this account separately. Okay, don't wait until you pass these accounts. You're still trying to maximize your return on investment. So you're still gonna risk $500 on this account, and let's say you hit a 1 to 2, right? That's another $1,000 in your pocket. Now you're gonna have $2,000 worth of drawdown in here, and then you just go for winning days. And then once you get those winning days, you can request another $1,000 from your first ever account. But let's say you end up blowing the account, right? This is where the 250K accounts come in. All right, you request half, right, once you run the accounts up to $2,000, and then now you're working with $2,000 in the bank. Okay, so now after this, you're going to finally scale to buying 550K accounts, right? Same thing, pass them with this risk management plan right here. Pass them, but this time you're going to run up accounts to $4,000, okay? And then request half on each account. Then that gets you to $10,000, right? So once you have $2,000 in your bank, okay, this will 550K accounts. If you pass them first try, that will run you $1,000, okay? And per cycle, it will run you $250. All right, so you really have let's say you blow 2 sets, right? $250 gone first set. Now the next set, you have another $250. You should pass it your second try, because with a 60% win rate, with a 70% win rate, you should be looking at setups that you're going to be taking on a funded account. All right, you can take a little bit lower probability setups, but you're not just straight gambling these accounts. All right, you're actually taking good setups so you can actually get those accounts passed. All right, it should not be that hard, and you should not be spending your entire payout on passing more accounts and scaling your capital. Okay, so back last year when Top Step had only a max allocation of 3 accounts at a time, it was pretty hard to scale to a 10K month with Top Step, all right? Because with a 50K account, if you get 350K accounts, I mean, you really have to run up the balance to request a 10K payout, right? And then with the 150K accounts, if you get 3 150K accounts, it's still kind of the same thing, except like it just takes longer, right? So you're more focused on not increasing your profits, but you're focused on increasing your capital. You're still making the same amount of money, but the good thing is you're able to, I guess, request more money, right? Because you're copy trading these accounts. So this is basically the overall like scaling plan but now I also want to talk about the psychology aspect of it, right? Obviously, this is not as easy as it sounds, right? It's all nice on paper, but obviously, it's not as easy as it sounds, right? You're going to be blowing accounts. You're not going to be doing all of this first try, which is why you want to give yourself a little bit of a cushion, okay? Risking half of your drawdown is only applicable if you have a good amount of capital to work with. What is a good amount of capital to work with? I'm talking like 1K or 2K, 3K, 4K. That's like a good amount even before like starting off with prop firms, all right? You should give yourself room to breathe. And also you should be having another source of income. You shouldn't be going all in just with some savings, all right? And no additional income coming in. Otherwise, you will absolutely cook yourself. That is a mistake that I did when I first started. I had money saved in, or I had money saved up, and I spent all of it, and then I had to go back and then earn that money again through working, and still had to work while being able to pass accounts and getting payouts, right? So keep that in mind when you're trying to scale, and you should also know when it is the right time to scale, right? What do I mean by this? You should be psychologically ready to handle more capital, all right? Obviously, with 150K account, you're not gonna feel that much pressure because it's $50, right? But once you get to 250K accounts, or once you get to 550K accounts, that's 250K in funding. That's a lot of money to be handling, right? And also your profits and your losses, they're duplicating across all of these accounts. So know when it is time to scale, right? Know when it is time to scale. That is probably the most important part of this, okay? You can easily lose yourself if you scale too fast, and you can easily lose a lot of time if you scale too slow, all right? So know what you're comfortable with, know your tendencies, and if you follow this plan, there is absolutely no way you cannot scale to 10K a month with just Top Step, all right? So that's basically it for this video. If you guys have any questions, drop it down in the comment section below. And if you guys aren't in my free Discord already, go ahead and join up. I'll leave it in the description. And yeah, that's basically it. I will see you guys in the next video.